Ladies and gentlemen, there will come a time in your life when the room goes quiet, when the support disappears, when the claps turn into questions, and the questions turn into silence. And in that moment, it's just you. No backup, no validation, no one telling you you're doing great, just you and your decision. Do I stop or do I keep going? Let me tell you something real. If you're waiting for people to believe in you before you start, you're already losing, because the truth is nobody sees your vision like you do. Nobody feels that fire the way you feel it. And that's exactly why you have to be willing to do it alone. Yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Yes, people will doubt you. Yes, you will question yourself. But that's the price of building something real. Everybody wants the spotlight, but nobody talks about the dark room where it all begins. That's where you build. That's where you struggle. That's where you become dangerous. Because when you learn how to move without applause, when you learn how to work without recognition, when you learn how to trust yourself without validation, you become unstoppable. Listen carefully. Success is not about who starts with you. It's about who refuses to stop even when they're alone. You don't need a crowd to begin. You don't need perfect conditions. Self-belief is the foundation of everything you are trying to build. Before skills, before resources, before opportunities, it starts with how much you trust yourself. Because the reality is simple. If you don't believe in your own vision, your own ability, your own path, it becomes almost impossible to convince the world to do the same. People don't follow ideas, they follow conviction. And conviction only comes when you are fully aligned with yourself. Most people struggle not because they lack talent, but because they constantly doubt their own potential. They look around, compare themselves to others, wait for approval, and slowly lose momentum. That hesitation is dangerous. It kills creativity, delays action, and builds fear. The longer you wait for validation, the weaker your confidence becomes. And in today's world where everything moves fast, hesitation is the biggest disadvantage. Self-belief doesn't mean you think you're perfect. It means you trust that you will figure things out no matter what happens. It means you are okay with failing, learning, and trying again without losing your sense of direction. When you truly believe in yourself, rejection doesn't break you. It teaches you. Criticism doesn't stop you. It sharpens you. Obstacles don't scare you. They challenge you. The hardest part is that self-belief often has to exist before results show up. You have to believe when there is no proof, no applause, no recognition, just effort and uncertainty. That's where most people quit. They want confidence to come after success, but in reality, confidence comes first. It is the fuel that keeps you going long enough to actually see results. There will be moments when nobody understands what you're doing. People might question your decisions, doubt your path, or even laugh at your goals. If your belief depends on their opinions, you will stop. But if your belief comes from within, nothing external can shake you. That's the difference between people who start and stop and people who keep going until they win. Building self-belief is a daily practice. It's in the small promises you keep to yourself. It's in showing up when you don't feel like it. It's in doing the work even when it's uncomfortable. Every action you take becomes proof that you can rely on yourself. And over time, that proof turns into confidence that no one can take away. At the end of the day, the world responds to how you see yourself. If you carry doubt, it shows. If you carry belief, it shows even louder. And when your belief becomes unshakable, people start to feel it, respect it, and eventually follow it. Starting before you feel ready is one of the most powerful decisions you can make, because the truth is you will never feel completely prepared. There will always be something missing: more knowledge, more money, more confidence, more clarity. If you wait for the perfect moment, you end up waiting forever. The idea of being ready is often just fear disguised as logic. Most people overthink the beginning. They want a flawless plan, guaranteed results, and zero risk. But real growth doesn't work that way. You figure things out by doing, not by thinking about doing. Action creates clarity. The moment you take the first step, you start learning things you could never understand just by planning. Every mistake becomes feedback. Every small win builds momentum. The biggest problem with waiting is that it creates doubt. The longer you delay, the more your mind fills with excuses and fear. You start questioning yourself, your idea, and your ability. What once felt exciting begins to feel overwhelming. That's how opportunities fade, not because they were impossible, but because they were never started. Starting early gives you an advantage that most people ignore. While others are still thinking, you are already gaining experience. While they are preparing, you are improving. Even if your first attempt is messy or imperfect, you are ahead. Because progress beats perfection every single time. Nobody starts great. Every expert was once a beginner who chose to act despite feeling unprepared. There is also a hidden confidence that comes from taking action. It's not the kind of confidence you wait for. It's the kind you build. Every time you push yourself to start, you prove that you can handle uncertainty. You begin to trust your ability to adapt, adjust, and grow. That trust becomes more valuable than any plan you could have made. You have to understand that fear doesn't go away before you begin. It stays there and you move anyway. That's what separates people who create results from those who only dream about them. Courage is not about feeling fearless. It's about acting in spite of fear. When you accept that discomfort is part of the process, it stops controlling your decisions. Opportunities don't wait for perfect timing. They reward speed, effort, and willingness to try. The people who win are not always the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who start. They take the risk, make the move, and adjust along the way. They don't waste time trying to eliminate uncertainty. They learn how to operate within it. At some point, you have to stop preparing and start building. Stop thinking and start doing. Because everything you want is on the other side of that first step. And that step only happens when you decide that being ready is not required to begin. Loneliness is something most people try to avoid, but when you're building something meaningful, it often becomes part of the journey. In the beginning, there are no crowds, no recognition, no constant support. It's quiet, it's slow, and sometimes it feels like nobody understands what you're doing or why you're doing it. That silence can either break you or build you, depending on how you respond to it. The early phase of any goal is rarely exciting from the outside. There are no visible results, no big wins to celebrate, and no clear signs that things are working. While others are socializing, relaxing, or following the usual path, you're putting in time and energy into something uncertain. That difference creates distance. You might feel disconnected, like you're moving in a direction that no one else can see yet. This is where many people quit. Not because the work is too hard, but because the feeling of being alone becomes too heavy. Humans naturally want validation and connection. We want people to say we're on the right path. But growth doesn't always come with reassurance. Sometimes it comes with doubt, silence, and long periods where nothing seems to happen. But there is something powerful hidden in that loneliness. It forces you to rely on yourself. Without constant opinions from others, you start to think more clearly. You make your own decisions. You build your own standards. Instead of following the crowd, you begin to trust your own direction. That independence is what separates average effort from extraordinary results. Loneliness also creates focus. When there are fewer distractions, you can go deeper into your work. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're not chasing quick validation. You're building something real step by step. In that quiet space, you develop discipline, patience, and resilience, qualities that cannot be learned in comfort or constant attention. It's important to understand that being alone doesn't mean you're lost. It often means you're ahead. You're doing something different, something that not everyone is willing to do. And different paths don't come with large groups at the start. They come with uncertainty and isolation, and only later do they attract attention. There will be days when you question everything, days when the silence feels loud, and the lack of support makes you wonder if it's worth it. In those moments, you have to remind yourself why you started. You have to reconnect with your purpose, because that is what keeps you grounded when external support is missing. Over time, the same journey that felt lonely starts to show results. People begin to notice. The silence gets replaced with recognition. But by then, you've already changed. You're stronger, more focused, and less dependent on others' opinions. And that transformation is what makes the success sustainable. Consistency is what separates people who talk about goals from people who actually achieve them. Motivation can get you started, but it's unreliable. It comes and goes depending on how you feel, your environment, or your mood. Some days you wake up excited and ready to work, and other days you feel tired, distracted, or completely unmotivated. If your progress depends on those feelings, it will always be unstable. The problem with motivation is that people treat it like a requirement. They believe they need to feel inspired before they take action. But the truth is, The most important work often happens on the days you don't feel like doing anything. Those are the days that define your discipline. Showing up when it's hard, when it's boring, or when you'd rather do something else, that's where real growth happens. Consistency is about building a system where action becomes a habit, not a decision. You don't wake up and debate whether you should work or not. You just do it. It becomes part of your routine, like brushing your teeth. This removes the pressure of constantly needing to feel ready or excited. Instead of relying on emotion, you rely on structure. Small actions repeated daily may not look impressive in the moment, but over time they create massive results. 1 hour of focused work every day is far more powerful than random bursts of effort once in a while. Consistency compounds. Each day builds on the previous one, creating progress that becomes impossible to ignore. There is also a mental strength that develops through consistency. Every time you follow through on what you said you would do, you build trust with yourself. That trust is powerful. It turns doubt into confidence, not because you feel different, but because you have proof of your own reliability. You know you can count on yourself regardless of how you feel. On the other hand, inconsistency creates frustration. Starting and stopping again and again makes progress slow and unpredictable. It breaks momentum and makes even simple goals feel difficult. People often think they need better ideas or more talent, when in reality, they just need to stick with what they already started. Consistency also teaches patience. Results don't show up immediately, and that can be discouraging. But when you commit to showing up every day, you stop chasing instant outcomes. You focus on the process instead, and ironically, that's when results begin to appear because you've given them enough time to develop. There will be days when your energy is low, when distractions are everywhere, and when nothing feels rewarding. Those are the moments where consistency matters the most. It's easy to work when everything feels right. It's difficult to work when everything feels off. And that difference is what separates those who move forward from those who stay stuck. In the end, success is not built on intense moments of motivation. It's built on quiet, repeated effort that most people don't see. It's in the decision to show up again and again, regardless of how you feel, until the results finally catch up with your effort. Results are the ultimate proof of effort, and they carry more weight than words, promises, or opinions. People can doubt you, question your choices, or ignore your efforts, but once results start to appear, everything changes. You don't need to argue, explain, or convince anyone. The work speaks for itself. In the beginning, nobody is paying attention. You might be putting in hours of effort, learning, improving, and pushing forward, but from the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. This is where many people get frustrated. They want recognition early. They want people to notice their struggle and appreciate their effort. But real impact doesn't show up immediately. It takes time for effort to turn into something visible. The mistake most people make is focusing too much on talking instead of doing. They announce their plans, share their goals, and look for validation before they've built anything real. But talking creates temporary satisfaction without real progress. It gives the illusion of movement without actual results. And when nothing follows those words, credibility starts to fade. On the other hand, when you focus on execution, everything shifts. Instead of explaining what you're going to do, you spend your time actually doing it. Instead of seeking attention, you build quietly. That silence is powerful because it keeps you focused. You're not distracted by opinions, expectations, or pressure from others. You're simply working. Results take time, and during that time, doubt will exist, both from others and from yourself. People might not understand your vision, and they might question whether your efforts are worth it. But results don't need approval to grow. They develop in the background, slowly but steadily, until they become impossible to ignore. There is also a level of confidence that comes from knowing your work will eventually speak for you. You don't feel the need to prove yourself through words because you trust the process. You understand that consistency and effort will produce something real. That belief allows you to stay patient even when there is no immediate feedback. When results finally show up, they change the narrative. The same people who doubted you begin to pay attention. The same effort that went unnoticed becomes respected, and the journey that seemed uncertain starts to make sense to others. But by that point, their opinions matter less because you've already built something for yourself. Focusing on results also keeps you accountable. It forces you to measure progress, to improve, and to stay committed. You're not just busy. you're productive. You're not just active, you're effective. Every action you take is connected to a bigger outcome, and that clarity helps you stay on track. In the end, words can be ignored, opinions can be dismissed, but results demand attention. They create impact, build credibility, and open doors that nothing else can. When your work reaches that level, you don't have to speak louder, your results already are. It all comes down to one thing, your willingness to keep going when it's hard, quiet, and uncertain. You won't always have support, you won't always feel ready, and you won't always be motivated. But if you believe in yourself, take action, stay consistent, embrace the lonely phase, and focus on real results, you put yourself in a position where success becomes inevitable. Keep showing up, keep building, and if no one walks with you, move forward anyway. Thank you.